All right. Welcome to Not Suitable for Adults, the weekly podcast that happens every week about children's shows through the lens of adult glasses.
Wow.
I'm Rich.
I'm Natalie.
Hey, this is 2 weeks in a row that we're doing the show. Can you believe it?
It's been a while since we've been able to pull that one off.
Yeah, but things are
not going to be better.
Things have settled down for these 2 weeks in a row, and then the next 2 weeks, who knows what's going to happen?
Well, we'll be on vacation.
Who knows?
I know.
Who can say?
We're not. You probably will not hear our voices for the next week or two.
It's a mystery.
It's most likely not a mystery.
We'll be taking bets on what happens.
I can give you some pretty good odds.
Yeah, we have a vacation, so.
Very excited, apparently.
No, it's going to be good. We could do.
Not going to do it.
We could.
Whatever you're doing, I'm not going to. Whatever you're fixing to say, I'm not going to do it.
We could do a road episode. We could. I'm just saying we could.
I mean,
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
It's not going to happen.
All right. So but we do have things to talk to you about this week, and I'm going first because we're back on the regular old. Natalie's got the secret thing that not even I know what it is.
And then you've probably got the weird, I don't know, obscure TV show.
Here's what I'm doing. Are you ready? Buckle yourself in.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about a movie.
Okay. Is it weird and obscure?
It's not. It's new.
Oh.
And I'm not going to do a full, deep spoiler review on it.
You've been doing a lot of new stuff lately, and you got to be careful about that.
Well, to be fair, last week I did the Nintendo Game Boy, so hopefully I didn't spoil that for anyone.
You are just sassy pants today.
I've had I'm in the middle of a bubbly bounce caffeinated sparkling water, and
not sponsored.
It's got me going.
Do you want to know what I've had today as far as caffeine goes?
Tell me.
I got up this morning, and our longtime listeners should know that I get up very early in the morning. At about 5-ish this morning, I had my energized tea, which is caffeine. Then I had myself some regular iced unsweet tea, which is also caffeine. On the way to Murfreesboro to see your mom for Mother's Day, I had a bubbly bounce, which is also caffeine. At your parents' house, I had 2 cups of caffeinated coffee. On the way back from Murfreesboro, I stopped at Starbucks and had a venti cold brew. And
I think you're in the middle of it. Is that?
Oh, this is my leftover sweet tea from this morning.
Oh, that's the same sweet tea.
It's the same sweet tea.
Okay.
I'm finishing it up. I also have a nice glass of water next to me, which I really need.
So yeah, Natalie is the one who should be bouncing off the walls.
I would not be able to go to sleep right now if I tried. Honestly, though, I'm pretty sure I could go to sleep.
Yeah. The thing is, you wouldn't have to try. If you tried to go to sleep right now, you could not. But if you just closed your eyes, you'd be out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've had a lot of caffeine this morning. That's probably why my hands are doing this, and I didn't even realize it until now. My hands are moving a lot.
So I'm reviewing a movie.
Yeah, sorry.
And here it is. As is often the case, and I just have to admit it, the main reason that this movie came into my field of vision was because of the McElroys.
Does everybody know we love the McElroys?
I think they know by now.
If you don't know by now, let's do a quick shout out really quickly on what their podcasts are called.
If people have just recently joined us and they don't know.
Yes, we are always inspired by the McElroys as a family unit.
So they host My Brother, and Me, which is sort of the thing
That's
that started
OG.
it all. And The Adventure Zone, which is a real play D&D podcast. And then each of the brothers hosts a show with their wife. Travis and his wife host Schmanners, basically a podcast about the history of sort of social traditions. Griffin and his wife host Wonderful, which is just a podcast about things they like. And Justin and his wife host Sawbones, a medical tour of misguided medicine.
Yes, because she is a doctor.
Because she is a family practice doctor.
They also do the odd occasional something or another.
Every year around Thanksgiving, they rewatch Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 and do a podcast with some friends of theirs from Australia, I think. Other
Australia,
podcasts.
New Zealand.
I think you're right. New Zealand. Yeah. And they're also, I can't remember their names right now, but they're also
Worst Idea Ever is their podcast.
Yes. But the name of the Paul Blart Mall podcast is Till Death Do Us Blart.
Yes. Love it.
They hosted a show called The McElroy Brothers Will Be in Trolls 2, which got them in Trolls 2.
Yes.
Or Trolls World Tour.
As voice actors.
And they've done other sort of one-offs.
They've done their My Brother and Me TV show as well that you can...
And rumor has it that they're working on an animated Adventure Zone for Peacock.
Man, love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone knows... We love the McElroys.
They inspired the show. Again, if you don't know, a lot of you know this, but they inspired the show in a lot of ways because, at least for me, because I saw like how much fun they were having doing these shows, not just with like their family, but also with their wives.
Yeah.
And so like how cool to like
because their wives aren't family.
Well, what I mean is their immediate family, because they have a show that's just brothers, and they have a show that's the brothers and their dad.
Yeah.
And then each of them has a show with their wife, and I just think that's really cool.
Yeah. So they inspired this movie that you watched?
Incorrect.
You said...
It's just that what I said is that...
Don't yell incorrect at me.
Incorrect.
You know how much I love that.
Erroneous. No, it's just that because we follow the McElroys closely, I came to know this movie because Griffin is credited as a voice actor in this movie, even though he doesn't actually appear in the movie.
Are you sure? Because it seems like there's some controversy about that online, about if he's in the movie or not.
I understand why there is, because there's a lot of spots where if you told me Griffin McElroy's in this movie, I would go, okay, yep, I hear him. There he is. But I'm on the Wikipedia page, and I'm on the Rotten Tomatoes page, and he's not on the cast list there.
Well, bums.
He is in the credits.
Because he did record a part.
Right. It seems like he recorded a part for this movie that ended up getting cut from the movie.
Gotcha. Well, maybe he in one of his other podcasts will
maybe so
zip this up for us. Okay, so you're going to talk about...
I'm talking about The Mitchells versus the Machines, new to Netflix. It's a brand new movie from Sony Pictures Animation. Which is the same production place that made Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is one of, if not the favorite animated movie of us.
We love the animation. Well, we love the movie Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, if you guys haven't seen it.
But it's also a gorgeous movie.
It is one of the most visually appealing movies I have ever watched.
And I'm here to tell you that in a very different way, the look is not the same, but in a very different way, but in a very real way, this one is also very, very nice to look at.
Okay.
This movie.
Just like you.
Oh, hey. Thank you. Say more nice things about me.
Let's keep going.
Okay. It's directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who are sort of classic fun movie directors. They do all sorts of stuff together. They were the ones who originally were directing Solo, a Star Wars story, and they got fired for being too silly.
Oh, that's fun.
They were making this. I'm a big Star Wars fan, as everyone knows. I love this idea, and by love I mean I think it's ridiculous. This idea of like they were making a really fun movie, and
Our dog is she having...
No, she's just... Ruby, hey.
You okay?
She was asleep.
Okay, you all right? That was weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to come back up. I just love this idea of here's two directors making a movie about a lot of people's favorite Star Wars character, and they're making it very fun and sort of off the cuff. And the producers are like, I don't think so. I don't think this is what we want. And so they bring in, listen, amazing director Ronald Howard.
Old Ron.
Old Opie. To finish making this movie, and then surprise, surprise, it has sort of a split tone. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Mitchells versus the Machines.
Can I say the funny thing that you just realized? It was one of those things that was like, I am today years old when I realized that.
Oh, yeah.
When you realized
say it, yeah.
that Bryce Dallas Howard was Ron Howard's daughter.
Yeah, okay, we're going to do a lot of tangents because I want to explain. I want to tell the story about how this happened. So we were watching The Mandalorian. We watched through The Mandalorian. We really liked it. And Bryce Dallas Howard is one of the directors that they brought in for an episode. And then we were watching the making of, and there's like a episode director's roundtable in the making of. And she's sitting there and she starts talking about, the trips she would take with Dad, with George Lucas to Japan. For these amazing like director parties and like or directors events and things like this. And she's like, oh yeah, Dad would always take me to see George, and George was always so nice. And literally we were sitting there watching, and I was like, who is her dad? And I think you were like, Ron Howard. And I was like,
I don't think it's super well known.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those things that it's not bad if you hadn't realized that before, but it was funny because you just had this realization, and it just like
it blew my mind.
It changed your world forever.
Really did. Because now I can't not see it. She looks so much like her dad.
Right.
Now that I know it.
Yeah.
Okay. The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Yeah. Geez, would you talk about the movie already?
Okay, the movie is, here's what I'll say about the movie. It's a lot of fun. It's really good. It stars a lot of great people. It stars Danny McBride, Maya Rudolph as the parents. A few newer names who are people that I don't recognize. I believe Abby Jacobson is the main character, Katie Mitchell. Yes, that's correct. And like I said, I'm not going to give away a bunch of the story, although I think if you watch the trailer for the movie, you pretty much get it. So I don't think I'm going to give away anything that's not in the trailer or the first 5 minutes of the movie. Abby is an aspiring filmmaker. She's in high school. And she like expresses herself through these little movies she makes.
Was Abby the name of the actress or the name of the character?
Excuse me, Katie is what I meant to say.
But
I said Abby. Abby's the actress. Okay. Katie is what I meant. Katie is an aspiring aspiring filmmaker, and she expresses herself through these movies that she makes. She has a younger brother who's really into dinosaurs because all little kids I think are into dinosaurs right now. And she's got like these parents who are totally parents, and
these parents that are so parents,
who are very supportive. But like she feels like she and her dad are very on different wavelengths, which again, like it's
pretty typical,
very relatable,
very well,
or very. It's very that's what I mean.
It's a typical family storyline.
Yeah. So she wants to, he's like into fishing and working with his hands, and she's into computers and her phone and making movies.
Seems kind of like a Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs sort of thing.
Kinda.
Flint's into science, Dad's into fishing.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
So, she gets into like this really good film school, and they're getting ready to take her there, and the mom is like, Maya Rudolph's character is like, trying to get the dad and the daughter like be on a good wavelength when she goes to college, because she's going to college and it's not like nearby. It's gonna be kind of far away.
Okay, so she's older.
Yeah.
I was thinking more of like kid, but she's older.
Yeah, she's 18.
Okay,
yeah, she's going to college.
Gotcha.
And so they're getting ready to take her to college, and the dad comes out and is like, good news, I canceled your flight to college. We're going on a road trip.
Oh no.
And so they start going on this road trip, and she's making these little movies all along the way. Well, wouldn't you know it? That's when the AI decides to take over the world.
Sure.
And there's a whole other like side story as to like what leads up to that, and I won't talk a lot about it, like I said. But it turns into the family has to survive, and also Katie has an idea, and they sort of stumble into a plan to save the world, to be the ones who are able to take down the AI.
Okay.
It is so. Given that amount of information, honestly, from a story perspective, it goes pretty much the way you think it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of like I tell Cora whenever we're watching a movie, and she's like, "What? Is everyone going to be okay?" I'm like, "It's animated, so yes." Everyone's gonna end up fine. That's not 100% true, but
that's not 100%
but about
true.
99% of the time,
it's
gonna be okay.
Well, if it's a thing we're letting her watch and it's animated, then
sure.
yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Parched. It's a really good movie. The big thing about this for me is just how it's a very pretty movie. It's really it's fun to watch.
Okay.
So you don't have to tax. This is kind of weird. Like, you can kind of go on autopilot as you're watching this movie because the story's doing what you expect it to do, and really enjoy what's happening on the screen.
Gotcha. So it's not super like story filled. Like, it doesn't take you on a bunch of twists and turns and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you enjoy it because you're enjoying what's happening to your eyes.
Right.
Your eyeballs are enjoying it.
Right. So I will say, in general, where this movie shines the most is the visuals. It doesn't really innovate from a movie story standpoint.
Yeah.
But who cares?
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
Because it's not boring by any means. So it's not like you're going, come on, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just that it doesn't really surprise you with the story. With the exception of, I did see one person who was reviewing this movie who was talking about diversity.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about this movie is the family is somewhat diverse, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Katie represents the LGBT community in a nondescript way. They don't really talk about it, and that's actually why this particular person reviewing it was very happy with it. They're like,
it was there, but it didn't have to be
right. They didn't
obvious.
They didn't make a whole thing about it. Mm-hmm. It's not what the story is about, and so they didn't shoehorn it in.
Yeah.
There's a moment at the beginning when Katie's describing herself. She goes, "I've always been just a little different," and when she says different, a big rainbow goes over her head. And then at the very end,
mm-hmm.
they're talking to her. She's at college, and she's like, "When are you going to bring Sarah over for Thanksgiving? We can't wait to meet her."
Right.
And that's the only time.
So it's just like oh, look, normal life.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be all about a preference you have.
Yeah. So a lot of people are lauding this movie. I mentioned that I was on the Rotten Tomatoes because I wanted to take a look at where this is currently at. It's kind of 98% on Rotten Tomatoes and an 89% audience score. So that means in general the reviewers and the audience and the reviewers are in the same boat. Yeah. Everyone really likes this movie. Special shout out to the family dog in this movie is this really ugly pug. He reminds me of Gigantosaurus or whatever, the big bug from Monsters vs. Aliens.
Oh, uh-huh.
His face is very like that.
Oh.
It's really good, y'all. It's a fun movie. It's fun to watch. I'd probably watch it easily again, and I probably will. It's because it's just a lot of fun to look at.
Would Cora like it?
I think she would, but it might be a little bit. It's rated PG.
Okay. That's what was my next question.
It might be slightly too violent for young kids.
Okay.
Because they do fight robots a lot in this movie.
Okay.
And it's mostly goofy comic cartoon fun,
mm-hmm.
but it's hard, and the AI overlord is pretty mean. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It's probably very marginal for her right now. Much older than her, probably not a problem. It's like 7 and up, probably not a problem.
Yeah.
That is The Mitchells versus the Machines. Before we transition away from this, though, I wanted to really quickly... I was getting on Rotten Tomatoes to look at this, and I came across another movie that just made me almost fully laugh out loud when I just saw the poster of it.
Oh, so this was just being advertised?
I haven't seen this movie, but I want to read it to you and then show you the poster.
Uh-oh.
And let's just talk about what they're doing here.
Okay.
Here's a quick line of description of this movie.
Okay.
A boy and a dragon embark on an epic adventure to find a mythological safe haven.
Sure.
What does that sound like?
It sounds like How to Train Your Dragon.
It does sound like How to Train Your Dragon. How about this poster that is on the screen right now? I can only show you. I can't show the viewers or the listeners. I mean,
do you want me to look right now?
I want you to look as soon as I get it on my screen.
Bated
right now.
Breath. Okay.
Right now.
It's How to Train Your Dragon.
How to Train Your Dragon, gang. It's from Sky, which is that like French Canadian like animation studio that made that
oh my
ballerina
goodness! They
movie.
even used like the Leap, the ballerina movie. Leap?
Yeah, Leap. Yeah.
Okay. They even used like the same font.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And like the same exact pose and everything.
Yep,
like animated pose. Oh my goodness, this is such a ripoff.
I know, I can't believe it. I just couldn't believe it.
It is called Dragon Rider.
Dragon Rider, which is the name, everyone, of the like spin-off of How to Train Your Dragons for kids is Dragon Riders. That's what that's called.
Plural though, Dragon Riders.
Right.
But this is Dragon Rider.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, look it up, y'all.
It's got a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Goodness.
It came out in 2019. Oh, man. That movie stars... Oh, I need to talk about who's actually in The Mitchells versus the Machines. But just real quickly, in Dragon Rider, Felicity Jones, who is the girl from Rogue One.
Yes.
I can't remember her character's name at the moment. Thomas Brody Sangster, which is one of those young kids that you see and everything. And Patrick Stewart and Freddie Highmore are all in this movie. They're all in this ripoff. I just wanted to point that out real quick. Okay, let's almost close the book on Mitchells versus the Machines. Let's run down the cast list real quick.
You think you already did that?
I mentioned it really quickly, but I wanted to say everyone who is famous in it because there's some
everyone who's famous in it. Only
Danny McBride, Maya Rudolph. I mentioned. Let's see. Fred Armisen is in it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
So we've got some comedians going on.
Chrissy Teigen and John Legend are in it.
Okay.
As a family that the family is always looking at, like, look at them. Their Instagram is amazing and they're perfect. That's them. Chrissy Teigen and John Legend are that family. Let's see. Blake Griffin, the famous basketball star, he's in it. Conan O'Brien is in there. Apparently, I don't know this, but apparently there is, there's a real live pug named Doug the Pug, who apparently lives in Nashville. Oh my goodness.
Woo!
Doug the Pug is the voice of the pug.
Perfect.
Of the family dog in this movie, whose name is Monchi.
Okay.
And of course, Grey Griffin's in it because she's in everything.
Grey Griffin's in everything.
All right. That's The Mitchells versus the Machines. It's good. Watch it. Don't watch Dragon Rider. Don't do it. Okay.
Oh my goodness. All right.
And with that, it's time for us to just pull over.
We need some more caffeine.
Yeah, get a little more caffeine going. We're going to promo though. And we're back. All right, Natalie, pull back the curtain and reveal your amazing topic for this week, because it will be amazing.
Wow, you put a lot of pressure on me just now.
I don't mean to put pressure, but you always do a good job.
Thank you.
You've set my expectations very high.
Yikes. Okay, thank you very much. I want to talk about something that you usually go with the older kids' TV shows. I want to go even a little bit farther. I'm going to talk about a TV show that is rated mostly PG to TV 14.
Ooh.
And this is my show, The Simpsons.
The Simpsons.
Now, you have not watched The Simpsons, yes, other than very sporadically.
I know who they are. I know that they're all yellow. Yeah. I know Bart, and he likes to say "Cowabunga," and that's all I know.
Well, really only in the first few seasons does he say that. This is something that I've been getting into more in the last few months, I guess, maybe. Like I said earlier, I get up very early in the morning for my job, and I usually get up a good 45 to 30 minutes just so that I'm waking up before I start my first class of the day. And to get myself waking up, I watch The Simpsons. I do not watch this with Cora in the room. And there's a lot of reasons why, and a lot of people, so there's a little bit of, it depends on you as a parent, what you want to do. Some people are like, The Simpsons, it's animated, it's fine, let your kids watch it. I probably wouldn't personally let my kid watch it until they're a bit older, because it does have a lot of adult content in it.
And there's a fair amount of disrespecting your parents.
A ton of disrespecting your parents that she doesn't need help with right now. She's got that down. The Simpsons, it is a iconic, classic American television show.
Absolutely.
Even if you haven't seen it, everyone has heard of The Simpsons. And would probably be able to point them out. Like if there was some sort of, them on a poster, but it didn't have any words on it, people would go like, that's The Simpsons.
They're responsible for like an entire segment of like television programming now.
Yeah, it's
you wouldn't have like Family Guy or American Dad or Bob's Burgers or anything on Adult Swim without The Simpsons.
Yeah. Just a super quick recap. It was a comic strip turned into a short, turned into a TV show. I'm not going to go into the comic strip short kind of thing, even though sometimes the TV show will pull in that animation from those prior mediums, and it's just super crude drawings and stuff like that. Here we go. Debut 1989. 703 episodes have been broadcast. Now, I'm not exactly sure when this particular thing was written, so it could be more at this point. It is the longest running American animated series, the longest running American sitcom, and the longest running American scripted primetime television series in both terms of seasons and number of episodes. Now remember, that is all American. Internationally, there have been TV shows that have gone much longer actually than The Simpsons have even been going.
Wow.
But this is, by American standards, it is the longest running. Also, they have done a feature-length film called The Simpsons Movie. It was released in theaters in 2007, and it grossed over $527 million. Now, I wanted to point out, I've been watching chronologically, because that's what I do. I watch chronologically TV series, I listen chronologically to podcasts. That's how I roll. I have to do it that way. So when the timing came up for the movie, I watched the movie at the correct time in between the two seasons of the sitcom that were happening. The movie is rated PG-13. It does have a more to it, more I would say, adult content in it than the television series does. Like, I think there was a middle finger. I think there was some a body part shown. And let's see. I honestly feel like I remember there being one of the big bad dirty words in there. I'm trying to be as kid friendly as possible here.
They said butts.
Oh snap! Watch it. Somebody's kid is gonna start saying butts all over the place, and they're gonna be like, "Mommy, I heard it on your podcast." So the 32nd season, 32nd season premiered in 2020. It that included the show's 700th episode. In just this past March, it was announced that the series had been renewed for seasons 33 and 34 up to 2023, like the year 2023.
Right.
And it will surpass 750 episodes by that point. Time, the Time, named it 20th Century's Best Television Series. The AV Club named it Television's Crowning Achievement, regardless of format. Regardless of format.
Yeah.
In January of 2000, the Simpson family was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It has won dozens of awards, including 34 Primetime Emmy Awards, 34 Annie Awards, 2 Peabody Awards, and Homer's catchphrase, he goes, "Dope!
Dope!"
Yes, it has been adopted into the English language, and it is in the dictionary.
Nice.
Without, it's D''OH, but I believe in the dictionary it does not have the apostrophe.
Oh, come on, Websters. Get it together.
So, let me talk about the main characters. The Simpson family live in middle America in a town called Springfield. We do not know where Springfield is, and I'll talk to you more about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Homer is the father. Everybody, again, like I said, even everybody, I believe, know who the names of these people are, or these characters are, even if they don't watch this show. Homer is the father. He is a safety inspector at the Springfield nuclear power plant, and that's an odd position for him to be in because he is dumb. He is not safety oriented at all. And it just does not suit his actual personality. He is married to Marge Bouvier. Marge Bouvier becomes Marge Simpson. She is stereotypically an American housewife and mother. So much so that it becomes a pretty big joke that all she really does is like clean and cook and stuff like that. And when she goes outside of that, it's like a big deal. They have 3 children. Bart. Everybody knows Bart Simpson.
The spiky head one.
He's 10 years old. He's a troublemaker. He pranks people.
He's Dennis the Menace.
He's the worst.
Yeah.
Lisa is 8. She's very smart. She's an activist. She is on her soapbox all the time. And they have little Maggie, who is the baby. She's around 1 year old. And she never speaks. She just sucks on that pacifier the whole time.
Yeah, she does.
Now, throughout, I'm going to say this at this point. Throughout this series, the timeline is they go through years, but no one ever grows up or changes.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, like, they will have multiple Christmases. They have a Halloween episode every year. Like, they go through these different years, but they never grow older. Like, Bart's always 10, Lisa's always 8, Maggie's always a baby. Unless they do some sort of future flash forward kind of thing where they have them grown up.
Yeah.
But in the timeline, in the actual day to day, they never. They just don't grow up.
Yeah.
That's how they always are. They also have so many supporting characters, and I want to run through just the main ones, which are actually a lot. So we have Lenny and Carl, who are the co-workers, and they are always together. The school principal Seymour Skinner, and the teachers Edna Krabappel and Elizabeth Hoover. Every one of these started out as a supporting character that ended up sometimes having their own episodes. Ned Flanders, who is the Bible thumping, and he has Rod and Todd. I don't know, that gets me every time. Rod and Todd, they crack me up. Barney, who's the town drunk. Apu is in charge of the Quickie Mart. Mm-hmm. Mo, the bartender. There's so many different ones. There's Milhouse, Nelson, Patty and Selma Bouvier, who are Marge's sisters. They're twins. And then we've got the mayor, the police, it's just a lot.
It's a huge cast of characters.
Yes. And then we got like Krusty the Clown, who honestly I think is my least favorite character. He bugs me to death.
Sure.
So like I said, the creators originally intended for these characters to be one-time jokes or fulfill the needs of the town, the functions of the town. But most of those that I just named, actually all of them that I just named, have gained expanded roles and sometimes their own starring episodes. An episode all about Mo, an episode all about Patty and Selma, and so on. One of my favorite reoccurring characters is... Oh, come on. I didn't write this one down, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not going to be... Sideshow Bob.
Yeah.
Sideshow Bob is voiced by Frasier.
Yep.
Tell me his name. You're not going to be able to think of it either.
I'm not going to be able to think of it either.
Because Frasier, you guys...
You know Frasier.
Okay, Sideshow Bob is always coming. He's always breaking out of jail to try to kill the Simpson family.
Mm-hmm. Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer. Oh my goodness. I was thinking Cary Grant.
You know that's wrong.
Well, I was thinking it's kind of a name that you would normally hear on a female.
Sure. Typically, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Typically, Kelsey would be a female name, and so I went with Cary. Anyway, in one of the recent episodes I watched, we meet his brother, and he is voiced by David Hyde Pierce.
Oh.
As everybody would know,
everyone knows. We've all seen Frasier.
Plays Frasier's brother, Niles. Anyway, okay. Like I said, The Simpsons takes place in the fictional American town of Springfield.
Yeah.
It is fictional. It is an unknown and impossible to determine U.S. state. And they actually intentionally are evasive about where Springfield is located. Springfield's geography and what is around it, it has coastlines, it has deserts, it has farmlands, it has tall mountains. Whatever the story needs it to be, it's always in Springfield unless they specifically say they're going outside of Springfield.
Yeah, in many ways, Springfield is America.
Right, exactly. The creators of the show said that Springfield has a lot in common with like Portland, Oregon. But they named it Springfield because it is so common in America. It's in at least 29 of our 50 states. Springfield is in most of our states.
I like the idea of someone being like, we need a classic middle American town like Portland.
Well, I think
from a geographical standpoint.
And they say the creator, he said that, quote, he figured out that Springfield was one of the most common names for a city in the U.S. In anticipation of the success of the show, I thought, this will be cool. Everyone will think it's their Springfield. And they do. Yeah. So everyone can kind of just go, that's our Springfield. That's our American town. There's a lot of times in the show where they will say, well, they will intentionally not say the name of the state they're in. Mm-hmm. And they just put it in the show as that. When they were holding the casting for Bart and Lisa, I thought this was interesting. Yeardley Smith had initially been in to audition for the role of Bart, but the casting director thought her voice was too high, so she was given the role of Lisa. Nancy Cartwright was brought in to voice Lisa, but arriving at the audition, she found that Lisa was described as the middle child. She's like, oh, that's kind of boring, and didn't have much personality. And she was like, oh, this Bart, his description was devious, underachieving, school-hating, irreverent, and clever. Mm-hmm. And she was like, I want to try out for him. And so she tried out for the part of Bart, and as soon as they heard her read, gave her
probably just had to say, "Ay caramba!"
Gave her the spot. Gave it to her on the spot. Also, every main cast member has won a Primetime Emmy Award for outstanding voiceover performance.
Wow.
I thought that was really cool.
That's really amazing.
The opening sequence. Yes. It's one of the show's big hallmarks. Yeah. It's gone through a lot of iterations. Yes, that's the word I meant to say. Iterations. Each time it kind of comes through the clouds and goes, The Simpsons. Mm-hmm. And then it goes, dun, 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 and then we go into Springfield. Then it follows the members of the Simpson family coming home after a day of school, a day of work, a day of being a housewife. I think she's grocery shopping with Maggie. But each time we go in, something is a little bit different. Bart is writing... It's like he's had detention and he has to write something 100 times. He's always writing something different on the chalkboard. Mm. And that can do with something that's going on politically during when that episode's happening in real life. Or it can be just something that was, I'm really trying to think of even one of them. But I can't at the moment. Lisa, in her music class, is usually always plays a different solo on her saxophone. Mm-hmm. And also, they usually come in and get onto the couch in a different way. Hmm. They rush into their house, and they end up on the couch in some...
This is for every episode?
They will reuse... I have not seen... Of course, sometimes I watch the opening and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I go like, skip. They will reuse some of the opening couch gag sequences. Sometimes they'll reuse Lisa's thing. I'm pretty sure Bart's always writing something different on each episode. Also, something I wanted to mention is that it has gained a lot of notoriety for some of the jokes that have become reality. So you'll hear a lot about how the Simpsons have predicted the future. You've heard of this, haven't you? So some of the most famous are when they say that Donald Trump was going to be president of the United States. Mm-hmm. That episode aired in 2000, and that was 16 years before Trump was elected. And they make this joke about how Donald Trump becomes president. Another one would be that they say that Fox became a part of the Walt Disney Company.
Mm-hmm.
That was 19 years before Disney purchased Fox. Other examples would be like predicting the smartwatch, video chat, autocorrection technology, some Lady Gaga stuff, her acrobatic performance that she did at the Super Bowl. They did before she actually kind of did it.
Okay.
A lot of places like Snopes just say like they aren't obviously they aren't looking to the future. It's just that how many shows they've done, the extensive run of it, quote, a lot of jokes and a lot of opportunities for coincidences to appear. And most of these predictions have rather simple and mundane explanations. So they're just, a lot of people just say like, the reason behind this is that they've been going for so many years, they're bound to say something that is going to happen. So, but a lot of people look at The Simpsons as kind of having this kind of like future fortune telling kind of aspect to it.
Yeah.
A little bit of controversy. Bart's nature is a big deal for a lot of parents letting their kids watch The Simpsons. He is always misbehaving and rarely gets very much of a punishment. They say he's a poor role model for children, which he is. I mean, it's TV. Educators say that he's a threat to learning. He's an underachiever and proud of it attitude, and he has a negative attitude towards education. Egotistical, aggressive, mean-spirited, and angry, confused, frustrating. So the creators just say that sums up Bart. Most people are in a struggle to be normal, and he thinks normal is very boring and does things that others just wish they dared do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of their aspect or their thought on it. Also, there's some race, cultural, and when they visit other countries and stuff like that, there's a lot of stereotypical representations that happen throughout the series that a lot of people are like, I'm not as into this. Didn't
age as well.
Right. But also, like, there's some things like Apu is
like a hyper stereotypical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I think he's the one that's brought on the most like stereotypical kind of controversy as far as his character goes. Which, by the way, I want to say, because Apu is one of his characters, Hank Azaria plays many of the characters in this show, and we love Hank Azaria.
He's very funny.
I just wanted to point him out real quick. He plays Apu.
He recently, though, because there was a big push recently about Apu, like in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think, didn't he finally say like he was going to step down and not voice Apu anymore?
I didn't look into this as much because I was doing an overarching kind of Simpsons thing, but I didn't look into that because I just wanted to kind of.
I think that's right, and I don't know if they're keeping the character and revoicing him or what they're doing. But I think I remember that he said he was going to stop. The idea being that a person of color should be voiced by a person of color.
Yes. Now what I did see was that the black characters were being voiced by white voiceover actors, and they did change that. I did not see anything about Apu, but I can do some research on that.
Okay.
And this last funny thing that I just thought was funny. In 2009, the United States Postal Service unveiled a series of 5 44-cent stamps featuring Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie to commemorate the show's 20th anniversary episode. The Simpsons is the first television series that is still in production to receive this recognition. The stamps were designed and made available for purchase in 2009. 1 billion were printed, but only 318 million were sold. Costing the Postal Service $1.2 million.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, so that's hard.
Does that mean that what did they do? I wonder what they did with them.
I don't know.
I'm surprised, like
sitting
that
somewhere, I guess.
Some stamp collector out there is like just crying, like, I can't believe all those stamps didn't get circulated. I don't know.
Let me get off of airport. There we go. I did that quick research for you about Hank Azaria, and you were correct. This just happened in January of 2020.
Okay.
He announced he was stepping down from voicing Apu. January of 2020.
2020. Okay.
Yeah. So when I say this just happened, it's been over a year, but yeah. And like I said, I've been watching from the beginning, so I'm not even close to being close to this. Hank Azaria has voiced Apu for 30 years, and he was speaking about it, and he said, quote, "Part of me feels like I need to go around to every single Indian person in this country and personally apologize." He apparently there was someone that made a documentary saying that Apu was founded on racial stereotypes, and that was in 2017. And the kind of organization of The Simpsons kind of wanted to just laugh this off because he has been voicing this character for 3 decades.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to make a knee-jerk reaction to something. He did the work. He kept doing it. And he said he did some reading. He spoke to people who knew a lot about racism, and he spoke to a lot of Indian people and went to different seminars. And decided that after doing all of that research, which I appreciate.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate he didn't just laugh it off, but he also didn't just...
he didn't just immediately give in.
Right. Because it could have been something that one person said.
Sure.
That didn't necessarily represent the that culture.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is like being sensitive to this kind of thing is like always good, but also like knowing who is complaining, like
yeah.
Like, people complaining on behalf of a group is much different from a group actually saying, listen, we really don't like this.
Right. So Apu is sidelined right now until another actor is found to portray him. So, yeah.
But what are they going to do? Like, even if they... I don't know. Are they going to... I mean, you don't know because you're not one of the creators of The Simpsons. But, like, part of the... For lack of a better word, it's a long-running character, but, like, part of the joke of Apu is the stereotypical representation.
Right. So,
like, if they recast... I just wonder how that's going to work. Like...
Yeah.
Because it's not so... It's less even... It sounds like in the end, for at least from Hank's perspective, his thing was less about like he's not an Indian person and more that he's portraying Indian people in a stereotypical way.
Right. Which is the joke. That's what you're saying.
Right.
That's
so like I'm
joke.
wondering if they bring in an Indian voice actor,
if that person
are
will
they still going to do
joke.
a stereotypical Indian voice, or are they going to like tone that down?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm going to be. As a non-Simpsons watcher,
yeah,
I'm interested to see how that ends up being handled. Mm-hmm. Because it's also I'm not shrugging it. I'm not shrugging off the issue, but it's also a comedy show. Like,
right?
I don't know. It's
right.
weird. That's hard.
Right. And like I said, the other voice actors that were doing the voice acting for black characters are also those people are being replaced or not replaced. They may have multiple voices that they're doing, but the black characters of the show are getting black voice actors to portray them as well.
Gotcha.
So, that's just, I mean, that's what's happening in the world.
That's what's happening.
That's the world.
That's our new catchphrase, and that's what's happening.
And that's what's happened. That's it. Well, that's really what I had for my topic today.
I'm glad you finally got to talk about The Simpsons, because you've been really into them.
It has tickled my funny bone. It really has.
I should probably watch it. Here's the truth, y'all. I don't watch The Simpsons still, because when I was a kid, my parents told me I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons.
Sure.
And that got really ingrained into me, because at the time it was such a unique thing.
Yeah.
And it was like there weren't really, to my knowledge, any other like adult cartoons out there. And so like it was very intriguing to me as a young child to see this cartoon I wasn't allowed to watch. Mm-hmm. But then it got so ingrained in me that like, no, that's not a show for you. Mm-hmm. I think that I just like never cared to go back. And then I watched Family Guy, which is, from what I understand, just pretty much a direct ripoff of. In many ways,
similar.
It's a huge ripoff.
It's similar. Like I said, I wanted to talk about this show because it is rated TV 14, and to me, a 14-year-old is a child.
Well, sure.
So that's why I decided to talk about this one. It is more suitable for adults than it is for children.
Sure.
But I also know of, a lot of people let their, 8 to 10-year-olds watch it.
For a lot of people, it's a family show.
Right, exactly. And it is labeled as a family show. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to speak on it. It has, there is adult content. It has language. It has, sexual content. Trying to think. It has a lot of violence.
Drinking and smoking is
a big. I mean, Homer's drunk pretty much through the whole thing. And it has, Homer like chokes out Bart all the time. So it has
family violence.
And family violence in it. Yeah. So but it's all done in a way that's supposed to be funny, but some kids may not get that concept yet.
Yeah.
To distinguish what is funny and what is funny to watch versus what is funny to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, it is up to you, obviously, as the parent of your child, to decide whether your child is ready for that. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's what we say.
Yep. So let your kids watch whatever you think they should.
Yeah. Only let your kids watch what you want. That doesn't roll off the tongue as well.
No.
All right. Well, thank you for enlightening us about The Simpsons. And thank you, fair listeners, for listening to another episode of Not Suitable for Adults. We always appreciate your time. We hope you appreciate our time. And if you do,
because we don't give much of it these days.
Yeah, we know it's so valuable. We gotta keep it. We gotta keep it back. No, but once we're past like craziness, we'll be back on a regular.
We keep saying that. I know, but and the craziness keeps happening.
Right, but I think we can all agree that once the craziness stops, we'll be back to every week.
The craziness will never stop.
We're just, the point is, we're not switching our schedule up. Mm-mm. We're just but yeah, if you are enjoying the show, go over to iTunes or to wherever you like to review podcasts. You could do that either iTunes or Podchaser, or if your particular pod collector gives you a review ability, go ahead and do that. Leave us stars or smiley faces or thumbs up icons, whatever the thing is, and leave us a little review too. Let people know how much you like the show, and share it with your friends. Let them know, even if they're not parents, even if they're just like into fun TV and movie and sometimes other stuff podcasts, that we'd be good for them, because we would love it.
Okay, we love it. You got really high.
Did I get too high? Went too low. We love it.
Okay.
Anyway, we thank, as always, Shad Worrell for creating our new theme music. We still really like it. Even now that
we still like
even
it.
now that it's been broken in, we still like it.
Yeah.
And you can find more of Shad's work at soundcloud.com/shad-worrell. And just keep on going out there. Hopefully things are going great for you. Like we're starting to be able to open up. We're starting to be able to go do things like it's feeling like it's getting almost normal again.
Yeah, you guys, I got to spend some time with an old friend and yesterday, and it felt like pre-COVID times. We're all vaccinated. That really helps with getting us out there and with our people again. So if you have the means and the ability, and find out, do some research if you're worried about it.
Yeah.
Also, hey, listen, we talked about the McElroys before,
mm-hmm.
and we talked about Justin and Sydney McElroy's podcast called Sawbones.
Yeah.
They have great episodes about hesitancy about the vaccine.
Yeah.
Again, Sydney McElroy is a MD. She knows her stuff. They do it in a way that everybody can understand, and I really appreciated it to waylay whatever fears I might have. I'm just saying, you can do what you want, but really consider it, please.
Yeah.
Let's try to get this world back to the way it was.
Yeah, it feels like we're so close.
We are so close.
Yeah. Seasons are changing. Hopefully the tides are turning, but one thing that'll never change: you are the boss.
Wow, okay. So watch whatever you want.
All right, bye.
Bye.